Indonesia is home to one of the most biodiverse reef systems in the world, the archipelago of Raja Ampat. Located in the Dampier Strait, where powerful Pacific currents meet shallow topography, nutrient-rich waters create ideal conditions for vibrant marine life. Here lies Arborek Island, a small island village known for its abundant ecosystems and manta rays right on its doorstep, attracting visitors from around the globe. But these reefs now face an urgent and growing threat: untreated sewage that is flowing freely onto the reefs.
Something that I find really heartbreaking is when I speak to the elders here, for example in Arborek, but also on other islands, and they're confused. These indigenous communities here, they've been relying on their knowledge. They've been passed on from generation onto generation for centuries. They can read the reefs and the oceans like no one else. And even they are confused. They cannot explain why these reefs are all bleached, or why there are these big mats of red and green fluffy stuff just underneath their homestays and their jetties. And that's the thing that I think is now frightening the local communities.
Barefoot Conservation is a small team of researchers, volunteers, and locals working to protect Raja Ampat's reefs. They've spent years studying the waters around Arborek, collecting data, and sharing knowledge with the community to safeguard these fragile ecosystems. But now they face new challenges: rising tourism and population growth without the sewage management needed to support them. As wastewater flows untreated into the ocean, scientists are witnessing an alarming change: the rapid spread of cyanobacteria.
In 2014, there were 10,000 tourists coming into this area, but now, unfortunately, it has threefolded to 30,000 tourists. Now, you wouldn't think that that's necessarily a problem, but the infrastructure here is lacking. This archipelago is not really ready to handle this amount of activity. I started working at Barefoot in 2017. In the marine science back then, and everything we were learning here and studying, cyanobacteria was not a topic because there simply wasn't any around. And now, when I came back in 2021, there was some, but we didn't think anything of it because it was in balance with the ecosystem. And then in 2022, in January, we saw a crazy increase. This is also in sync with high season. So there's many liveaboards, there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of tourism going on, and that must have put the sewage problem at a higher scale, and therefore also created these blooms of cyanobacteria. Then we monitored it, and we saw that in the next few years, instead of like it blending into the coral reef ecosystem, they became bigger and bigger mats taking over everything, and that's when we started to really worry. The biggest challenge in central Raja Ampat right now is definitely wastewater or sewage. Wastewater is flowing freely onto the coral reefs of Raja Ampat, which makes that there is high concentration of nitrogen. The consequence of high and extremely high concentrations of nitrogen means that there's perfect conditions for cyanobacteria to bloom. They were the first oxygen-producing bacteria. This was like 2.8 billion years ago. And it's crazy to think that now it's taking life away. So now, of course, like anything in the world, when there's too much of something, it disbalances nature. These mats are spreading over the whole archipelago. They're looking like fluffy, hairy mats. They're red, green, and purple, and they suffocate the coral. And they are quite particular because they don't only suffocate the coral, they also accelerate bleaching, and they cause for more diseases on the corals. We've now done some water sampling tests just a few months ago, and these tests clearly show that there's a strong correlation between cyanobacteria and the sewage problem that Raja Ampat unfortunately is not tackling yet.
Despite the mounting evidence of this threat, both the government and the tourism stakeholders are lacking action, leaving the future of the reefs uncertain. But solutions exist. Initiatives like managing the wastewater through a biotank filtration system could help to restore the balance.
Here in Arborek will be the first prototype of installing the biotank with a flower garden attached to it. So the biotank traps all the sewage then gets concentrated in various different nutrients, and those nutrients will flow into the flower garden. The flower garden filters out all these nutrients that are disbalancing the ecosystem, and then it can flow into the marine ecosystem through the soil freely without damaging the ecosystem anymore. If this sewage problem continues as it is, and NGOs, stakeholders such as resorts and the government fail to come together and collaborate, then top of the field scientists in coral ecology believe that the reefs of Raja Ampat will be gone within 3 to 5 years. The irony is that if these coral reefs actually are not here anymore in 3 to 5 years, then that's going to cost the government and the whole tourism industry a lot more than tackling the problem right now.
But with community effort and government action, recovery is possible.